So my first question is, this group of people right here, is the computer completely blocking your eyesight or are you good? Oh my goodness. And you can all see, I'm sorry you can't see each other. So Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Congregation Ahavat Chesed. I'm Cantor Barry, and it is a pleasure to see you all here today, whether you are here in person or joining us through Zoom. I'm going to ask that everyone just take a moment to silence your cell phones, because Vera has worked very hard for this day, and we don't want our ringtones to disturb the sanctity of the moment. So the prayer book that we're going to be using this afternoon is called Mishkan Tefillah. It's the prayer book of the Reform movement, of the Union for Reform Judaism. And because Hebrew is read from right to left, you'll find that the book itself also opens from right to left as well. We're going to be announcing page numbers as we move from prayer to prayer. But if we don't announce the page, it's probably because we're just flipping to the next page. So if we don't announce, just go ahead and move on to the next one. For those of you who are following along at home, if you have in your hands the PDF that was sent to you over email, I'm going to let you know if there's a big jump in your document, but otherwise you can follow the same general rule that you're probably just going to go from page to page. Now, the confusing thing, and I'm sorry that I didn't solve this problem for all of my guinea pigs for our first in-person service in a year. My group in the sanctuary has different page numbers than the group following on the PDF at home. My bad, I'm so sorry. So what we're gonna do is, because most of the time you're just gonna move from page to page, those of you at home, if there's a big jump, I'll announce the page number and let you know where to be looking and what your actual page number is. And I'm gonna separate it out so that I'll say those of us with our prayer books and those of us following on the PDF. And I'm sorry, it's just gonna add a little bit more, but at least that way we'll all literally be on the same page. Today we celebrate Vera becoming a bat mitzvah. Finally. Vera was going to become bat mitzvah a year ago, and we had worked very hard for her to be ready. And then of course, the world had different plans for all of us. And, you know, when I spoke with so many of our B'nai Mitzvah students and people who had been planning weddings and other kinds of joyous occasions, we really tried to focus on the idea that, okay, yes, it's not what we imagined, and it's not turning out exactly the way we thought, but it's an extraordinary time that we're living through. And these are stories that we'll be able to share with our own children and grandchildren. Vera, your bat mitzvah and your experience as a bat mitzvah is different from what most other young Jewish men and women in the entire world will have ever experienced. So rather than seeing it as a negative, it's really a story that you'll be able to tell that's going to be uniquely yours. So you may have heard that bar bat mitzvah means becoming a man or a woman in the Jewish tradition, and I'd say it's not as simple as that. I have a very, who's not muted? Somebody just laughed really loudly. So I have a very good rabbi friend who, when both of his children, they're like 2 years apart, and independently, as each one got his and then her license, came home and said, "Do you need anything from the store? I'm happy to go get it." And that was the only time that they ever made the offer. Why? Because they could. So this is really what becoming a bat mitzvah is. Vera, much to her dismay, she's still not an adult. She can't drive or vote or live on her own. But as a bat mitzvah, she now has the ability to lead her community in worship. So by preparing for this service today, she's showing us that she's willing to take on the responsibilities of being a part of this community. And of course, it coincides with adolescence, when ideally all of our children are taking on more responsibility at home and increased ownership of making decisions, both in school and with our friends. So it's an important milestone that we will witness today. But we're not just here to watch. Our services are meant to encourage participation. So there'll be lots of times that we ask you to read along with us and maybe even join us in song. So please join wherever you feel comfortable to do so. So it's my honor now to invite Vera to the bima. And she's going to begin with a reading that you'll find in your prayer book here in the sanctuary on page 170. And if you're following along at home, it's the very first page of your document. And in the bottom right-hand corner of the page, you should see the number, the page number 288. So that's 170 for all of us here in the room.
May my life be one link in a chain of goodness. As I say the prayers of my ancestors, help me to recall their devotion and faithfulness, their joy and suffering, which are in every word. Holiness in my heritage, may I be worthy of it. May our tradition live in me and pass from me to generations I shall never know, enriched by the truth that I have found and the good deeds I have done, so may I fulfill my task on earth and receive my blessings. And when the service ends and the prayers have ceased, help me to bring their spirit into the world in which I live. May I love God above all and my neighbor as myself, and be a living witness to the truth that never changes.
Thank you, Vera. So you'll notice that I am wearing a prayer shawl. This prayer shawl is called a talit. And the important parts of the talit are actually the fringes at the bottom. It's a system of knots and strings that represent all of the commandments found in our sacred Torah scroll, which Vera will read from later on in our service. When Vera wears the talit, it is yet another symbol of her willingness to take on her new role in the Jewish community. And it's my pleasure now to invite Sarah and Patrick to the bima as they present Vera with her own talit.
As I wrap myself in the talit, I fulfill the mitzvah of my Creator. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hitatef bat zitzit. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who halls us with mitzvot, commanding us to wrap ourselves in the fringes.
Don't say anything yet. Let me get everyone on the right page. Okay, so our service is going to continue on page 85 in your prayer book. And if you're following the PDF at home, this is going to be our only really big jump ahead. And you're going to look for the page that says 203 in the bottom left-hand corner. That's 203 on the PDF, 85 in our room today.
I am a Jew because the faith of Israel demands no abdication of my mind. I am a Jew because the faith of Israel requires all the devotion of my heart. I am a Jew because in every place where suffering weeps, the Jew weeps. I am a Jew because at every time when despair cries out, the Jew hopes. I am a Jew because the world of Israel is the oldest and the newest. I am a Jew because Israel's promise is the universal promise. I am a Jew because for Israel, the world is not completed, we are completing it. I am a Jew because for Israel, humanity is not created, we are creating it. I am a Jew because Israel places humanity and its unity above the nations and above Israel itself. I am a Jew because above humanity, imagine of the divine unity, Israel places the unity which is divine. We continue at the top of the next page. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who halls us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage with words of Torah.
And now we'll turn the page once again. We should be on 88 here in the sanctuary.
These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one fathers and one mother, engaging in the deeds of compassion, arriving early for Sunday, morning, and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
Good job. In our book, we're going to move now to page 108. And for those of us following the PDF, skip ahead just a few pages to 226. And we're going to rise either in body or in spirit for our call to prayer, the Baruch Hu. Turn now to page 110 at the top. And for our PDF, it's 228. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Shalom, shalom, So that prayer that I just sang is about creation, and Vera is going to continue on the next page with an interpretive reading also on the theme of creation.
In the beginning, even then, a new light was sown for the righteous, a promise that your light would become the catalyst, first for order and then for hope. Author of language and light, help us to use words as you have. Cast light into dark waters and draw out justice and truth. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzir Hamarah. Once or twice in a lifetime, a man or woman may choose a radical leaving, having heard less Baha. And by freedom's now urgent voice, which explode and confirm who we are. We don't like leaving, though God loves becoming. Baruch atah Adonai, Havoter ba'amo Yisrael, ba'atah.
So we find the Shema, the core prayer of our people, pages in the, you should be able to find the Shema. Yes. And then on our PDF is on 232 and 233. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shekilon Malchuto Le'olam Ha'ed. Baruch Shekilon Malchuto Le'olam Ha'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu. can be seated now. Vera's going to lead us on page 116 with the words of the Ve'ahavta. That's 234 in your PDF.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levaha u'chol nafshecha u'chol me'odeha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher Anochi matzavaha hayom al levaveha v'shinatam levaneha v'dibarta bam v'shivteha b'vateha u'lefteha b'derech U'shofeha u'kumeha, u'shartan leot al yadeha, ve'hayu latotafot b'neineha, u'vtaktam al mozezot beiteha u'vishareha, leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, ve'editem kedoshim ve'elohem. Ni Adonai Elohem, asher hotzei etem me'eretz Mitzrayim, le'ot lehem le'elohim, ani Adonai Elohem.
We continue in our prayer books here in the room on page 121.
The eternal truth is that you alone are not God and there is none else.
You alone are God. It's all good. May the righteous of all. We're going to read. Vera's going to start over and make sure that we say that God is God and not God, not God. But it gives me a chance to let all of you know that this is going to be one of our responsive readings. So we're going to, as a congregation, read the indented paragraphs.
The eternal truth is that you alone are God and there is none else.
May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice.
Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks.
Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore.
You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart.
The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor? Asked God.
We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy.
Praise to God Most High.
Blessed is God and deserving of blessing. And on the next page, you'll find the Micha Mocha is the song of freedom. And it's missing from my binder, so just give me one moment and I'll get the chords here. That's not right. There we go. I don't know how I managed to not have my music. Doing great. Can any of my wonderful assistants who are following along? Got it. Cool. All right. Bring me whatever it is. Or say, just come on. I don't know what you have. That's not music. Or say, don't you know I can't see anything? I'm blind. Get over here with my music. Any Micha Mocha will do. Thank you. Going with a different one. Cool, that's never happened to me before. Told y'all you were getting things. So Vera, were you worried about messing up today? Yeah. You don't have to worry anymore. I did it all for you. Totally for you. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. So we're going to move now into a section of our service called the Amidah, or the Tefillah. It's considered the core of the worship service. It was the original service, and then over the centuries, the service grew from this particular section of the service. Vera is going to lead us in it. It's going to begin in our books here on page 124, and for those of you follow along on 242. You're going to be able to go from page to page as Vera leads us. And I'm going to ask the nickname of this prayer, the Amidah, means to stand. It's the standing prayer. So I'm going to ask that everybody rise with us here in the sanctuary. And those of us at home, you feel free to rise either in body or in spirit.
Adonai, sifatatita ufia kita hilateha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imateinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Ha'hanora, El Elyon, Gomia Hasodim Tovim, Bekonei Hakol, Besoher Hostei Avot Ve'imahot, Umei Ve'i, Gulal V'nei V'neihem, Laman Shemo V'avha, Melech Ozir U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, Be'ezrat Sarah.
And we continue on the next page.
Tagi bor le'olam Adonai, Mehaye hakol atav rav le'oshia, Mori hatal, Mehake ha'im behesed, Mehaye hakol barachmim rabim, Soknech noflim v'rofei holim, Umati rasurim, Kayem emunata l'shinei afar, Mihamo habal giverot, Umidoch mechla, Melech Memid, Haye, Matmir Yeshua, Iman Atah Lahaya Hakol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mehaye Hakol.
All right, we're going to have everyone be seated once more. We turn to page 132. And for those of you following along on your PDF, 250. At the top of the page, you'll find the words to the song Yismachu. Yismachu means rejoice. Rejoice in Shabbat. It is meant to be a joyful time. It's a day of rest, but it's also a day to be together with family and friends. And I have my music for this one, so we are good to go. Yismachu. Shomari, 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 Shabbat, Mikori, Torne, Shabbat. Yismechu, V'malachutcha, Service continues on page 135 in the middle. For those of us following the PDF, it's 253.
Where has the sweet vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burden that must return. On this day, Shabbat abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time, containing the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat abide. Baruch atah Adonai, Meka'ish Shabbat.
Continue on page 137.
Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otah vadha v'yirah na'avod.
We turn now to page 139 or 257 in your PDF. And you're going to see on this page a list of things for which we are grateful. Gratitude is a big theme in our services. And at the end of each one of these paragraphs, you'll see the words modim anachnu lach. And that means we thank you. And of course, we're talking to God. Modim, lehodot, these are all words of thanksgiving in Hebrew, and anachnu is we. So Vera is going to lead us in this beautiful reading, and at the end of each paragraph, we are going to answer with those words, modim anachnu lach.
For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations.
Modim anachnu lach.
For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons.
Modim anachnu lach.
For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression.
Modim anachnu lach.
for high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared.
Modim anachnu lach.
For all who have labored and suffered for a fair world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom.
Modim anachnu lach.
For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose.
Modim anachnu lach.
We pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shemcha uha na'eh lehodot.
Amen. And then Vera, I'm going to have you go be seated for just a moment over here as we turn to the next page for the prayer Sim Shalom. Sim Shalom is a prayer of peace. And after this, we'll have a moment of silent prayer as well. Sim Shalom, Tova Uracha, Vein HaChesed Rachamim Aleinu, E'acho Yisrael, E'acho Yisrael Amecha, Barcheinu Yotzreinu Kulanu Kecha, V'yochai Mecha, Hirior Panecha Natatalani, Adonai Eloheinu. Sim Shalom, Tova Uracha, Vein HaChesed Rachamim Aleinu, E'acho Yisrael, E'acho Yisrael Amecha. So we'll take a moment now for our own private prayers and reflection. We meet together now at the bottom of 142 or on your PDF 260 with the words of Oseh Shalom. May the one who makes peace on high bring peace to all of us. Oseh Shalom Mimrama, Kuryaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'alecho Yisrael, Limru Amen, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'alecho Yisrael, 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 Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'alecho Yisrael. Okay, we move now to the next section of our service this afternoon, Seder Kriyat HaTorah, for the reading of the Torah. And give me a moment while I make sure that I have everything in place for us. All right. So you'll be able to find our service for the reading of Torah here in your prayer book on page 244. And everybody following on the PDF, it should be next in line for you, page 362. And I'm going to ask everyone to rise here in the congregation, and I'm going to invite up at this time someone very important first. So Sadie Phipps, would you please come up here? Sadie is our official ARC opener this afternoon, and this is her first opportunity to perform her duties. We are so grateful that you are here. Thank you very much. You can go ahead and open the ARC, and I'm also going to invite up Sarah and Patrick to come join us on the bima as well. Ein chamocha Elohim Adonai, ve'ein k'ma'asecha, malachutecha malachut kol umamim, u'memshaltecha b'chodor v'ador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimalach le'olam va'ed. Adonai oseh mohitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, U'nevar Adonai mirushalayim. Okay, keep that ARC open for the moment. I'll let you know when it's time to close it. And I'm going to invite Patrick and then Sarah and Vera to stand on the other side of Sarah. This is the Torah. It contains the history of our people, which has been passed from generation to generation for over 3,000 years. It has been carried by the Jewish people from land to land, often at great peril. The word Torah itself means teaching, and while it tells the story of the Jewish people, it also contains the pathways toward living a life of value. Vera is blessed with an abundance of love, wisdom, and support from all those generations who have preceded her, especially those who stand here today to witness her passage into young adulthood. Her great-grandparents, Papa and Grammy Otis and Irene Howell. Her Granny Dee and Granddad, Diana and Jim Peaks. Her Saba and Nana, David Davis and Karen Franco. Her grandma, Karen Davis, and her honorary grandmother, Margaret Schultz. Today, Patrick's going to take the Torah into his arms to represent all of the grandparents and great-grandparents, as well as on behalf of himself as father. And then he will physically pass it to Sarah, who will then pass it to Vera as she takes her place as the next link in the chain of tradition. And Vera, we hope that the Torah will always be a source of comfort to you, knowing that it connects you to all of the generations who have come before you. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo. Gadol Adonai Romen Shemo Yachdav. Lecha Adonai Hagedula V'Hagevura V'Hatiferet V'Hanetzach V'Hahod. Ki chol hashamayim u'va'aretz, Ki chol hashamayim u'va'aretz. Lecha Adonai ha'mamlacha V'yamid na'aseh lecho Right. Sadie, you can close the ark for us. Everyone else can be seated now that the Torah is down. Okay, so normally we would have taken the Torah and marched it around. It's called a hakafah. It's a parade with the Torah. And because of COVID, we're keeping the Torah up here. So I'm sorry that you're not getting to experience that particular tradition that we have. But if you want to get up close with the Torah, you can come take a look after. Okay, so Vera is going to be reading a section of Torah. You have a piece of paper that you were given when you came in. If you want to follow along, it provides not just the Hebrew from the Torah, but also the translation of what Vera is reading. She is going to provide a little bit of an interpretation, what we call a Devar Torah, words on Torah, a little bit of a speech about her Torah portion afterwards. And it is my honor to call for the first Aliyah, for the honor of blessing the Torah. I'm fogging up over here. For the first Aliyah is going to be Vera Saba David Davis. Would you guys like my big? I have a big giant version. I have the biggest cheat sheet you ever saw. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'char banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Vayiver Adonai el Moshe ve'el Aharon lemor alehem. Dabru el bnei Yisrael lemor zot hahaya asher tohu mikol ha'pema asher al haaretz kol mafreset farsa v'shosat shesa parasot ma'alat gera b'pema ota tohelu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah v'hayeh olam nata b'tzorchenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Oh, so now are we swapping?
Right,
Right.
right.
So now you're the lead. Okay.
How was that for transition?
Beautiful. So for the honor of the second Aliyah, we give to our Nana, to Karen. Go ahead.
Thank you. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'char banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Ha'etze lo tohu mima'ale hagera u'mimafrese harpasa et hagamal kima'ale gera hu ufarsa einenu mafris tame hu lahem ve'et hashafan kima'ale gera hu ufarsa lo yafris Tamehu lahem ve'et ha'arnevet kima'alat gera hi ufarsa lo hifresa tamehi lahem.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah temet v'chayei olam b'tohenu.
Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Nice snakes.
For the honor of the third Aliyah, we invite to the Torah Sarah and Patrick Phipps, Vera's parents.
Baruch Adonai Hamorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
ואת החזיר כי מפריס פרסה הוא, ושושה שסה פרסה, והיו גרה לא יגר, טמא הוא להם, מבשרם לא תאהלו, ונבלתם לא תיגעו, טמאים הם להם. את זה תאכלו מכל אשר במים, כל אשר לא תנפיר וקשקשת במים בימים ובנחלים אותם תאהלו.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. All right, you guys, if you want to come a little closer. So now for the honor of the fourth Aliyah, we officially call Vera as Bat Mitzvah. But before she recites the blessings, I'm going to call her by her Hebrew name to the Torah. Ta'amod Amnona Chana Bat Surachanu Bachara Bat Mitzvah La'aliyah LaTorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorah,
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorah Leolam Va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Behold, asher en lo senapir v'kaskeset bayamim uvanhalim mikol sheretz hamayim mikol nefesh hahaya asher bamayim sheket hein lahem v'sheket yiyu lahem mibsaram lo tohelu v'et nivlatam tishaketzu. Kol asher en lo senapir v'kaskeset b'mayim sheket hu lahem. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nata b'toheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. So Vera, Yasher Koch, that was magnificent. Put your yad down so you don't poke your mom and dad and give them a big hug. So Sarah and Patrick, I'm gonna let you go down and we'll see you back in a little bit. Oh, thank you so much, appreciate it. The next family appreciates it even more. And Miss Vera, we're gonna say a blessing now for those who are in need of healing. So I'm gonna let you have a seat for a moment. Fantastic. So it is our tradition while in the presence of the Torah to say a blessing for those who are in need of healing. If you'd like to follow along with the blessing, you can find it on page 253 in your prayer book. And then if I have it for everyone on the PDF, it should be 371. It's probably right around where you were. Mishaberach Avotenu ve'imotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu yivarech et hacholim May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. Of course, we're thinking of so many in our lives and in our world who are in need of healing at this time, not just those who are suffering physically, but those who suffer emotionally, those who are taking care of those who are suffering. Everyone is in need of healing at this time. But if you know of someone specifically whose name you would like to share at this time, please do so. I'll kind of come around the room if you have a name to share. Please go ahead. Thank you so much. So for all of those whom we name aloud, those who we hold dear in our hearts, we sing this prayer together on the middle of page 253. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Ishe berachimotenu mikol habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. At this time, we're going to lift and dress the Torah. So I'm going to invite Vera to come on over and help me with that. And I ask everyone in the congregation to rise as we lift the Torah. Let's see. Vezot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Lay, 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 lay. Yeah, lay, 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 lay. Yeah, lay, 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 lay. Yeah, lay, 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 lay. Yeah, lay, 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 lay. Yeah, lay, 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 lay. Yeah, lay, 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 lay. Fantastic. Thank you. We can be seated. We're going to set the Torah. Oh, it's plexiglass, not real glass. I'm going to set this aside.
Hello, everyone. I'd first like to start with thanking you all for coming to my bar mitzvah and taking the time to do so. My Torah portion is called Shemini. It comes from Leviticus, which is the third book of the Bible. In my Torah portion, we learn a number of rules of kashrut. Kashrut are the Jewish laws around the preparation and consumption of food. Specifically, the Torah teaches us that land animals must have cloven hooves and must chew their cud, means they must eat grass. Seafood must have fins and scales, meaning shellfish is not allowed. It's forbidden to eat birds of prey, only clean birds, meaning birds that do not eat other animals can be eaten. Poultry is allowed. An important rule is that meat and dairy cannot be eaten together. It says in the Torah, do not boil kid in its mother's milk. So Jews who follow these dietary rules cannot eat beef or this protein. Often this rule is extended further so that people wait up to 6 hours after eating meat before they eat dairy. I personally do not follow the rules of keeping kosher. However, I have my own dietary laws pertaining to celiac disease. There are many similarities between keeping kosher and staying gluten-free. Here are a few. You have to stay away from certain foods while keeping in mind to avoid contamination and to read the labels. Both ways of eating require concentration and to be extremely cautious to avoid eating the wrong thing. And lastly, these foods are costly. I have to be more focused when making food choices than some without any kind of food allergy. I've been gluten-free since I was 6. It's become an everyday routine. Part of keeping kosher is about paying attention to what God wants from us regarding what we put into our bodies. Because I have to pay so much attention to, in a way, it's my own version of keeping kosher. During this ongoing pandemic, my bat mitzvah was postponed twice. This may seem like a good thing to some, while others may think it was a bad thing. I saw it as an opportunity to become even better at what I was doing, and it gave me time to practice everything required for this ceremony. While we all may be in mass and having to distance ourselves from the ones we love, at least we're all here today together. I'd first like to thank my mom and dad, because without them I wouldn't be standing here today. I'd like to thank my sister Sadie for always being positive throughout this pandemic and being one of my greatest supporters, even though you call me Miss Sassy Pants. I want to thank my aunts and uncles for always being there for me and being an extra support group. Same for my grandparents. An even bigger thank you to my great-grandparents, who helped raise me since I was only 3 weeks old and have been huge figures in my life. Lastly, I want to thank all of my friends that have helped me throughout life along with school. Again, Shabbat Shalom.
No, you're going to stay here and we're going to ask your Uncle Jared. Would Jared and Hajj unmute and lead us now in the prayers for our country and Israel? We're going to hear them through the computer. Everyone, listen.
Hi, sorry, Hodge is dealing with our younger one right now.
No worries, no
Right
worries.
now.
Good to see you.
Thank you. So prayer for our country. Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and unite the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke, share your bread with the hungry, and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst and the menacing hands, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness. O guardian of life and liberty, may your nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep your eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to continue now. I'm going to have everyone turn here in our sanctuary to page 256. Those of you following the PDF to 374 as we return the Torah to the Ark. All right, I'm going to have everyone rise, and I would love if Sadie would come up and open the Ark for us once more. Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashurcha Chaydish Chaydish Yameinu Chaydish Yameinu Vera, today you take responsibility for your own Jewishness and your own practice of mitzvot. Becoming bat mitzvah means that the Torah is yours in a new and deeper way. Yours to learn and to teach, to question and to celebrate. Becoming bat mitzvah means that the mitzvot are yours in a new and a deeper way. Yours to practice and to wrestle with, to strive to understand. And as you reach this age of mitzvah, you mark a milestone in your transition to adulthood. And though transition teaches that your good deeds and your mistakes accrue now to your karmic balance and no longer to your parents, may they still be privileged to walk beside you and offer guidance. We all look forward to continuing to learn from you as you become the person you most deeply yearn to be. And may we as your community, your family, be a blessing for you as you are a blessing for us. And now it's my honor and my privilege to be able to bless you with words from the Torah, the words of the priestly benediction. May God bless you and keep you. May God's light shine upon you and be gracious to you. May you feel God's presence within you always, and may you find the greatest gift of all, the gift of peace. And let us all say, amen. Sadie, you can go ahead and close the ark for us. And as we are all seated, I invite Sarah and Patrick up once more to speak to Vera.
Both of you nailed it.
You can come to close if you want so everyone sees you over there.
You slayed. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Very nice. Since I took the lead in reading the Hebrew before and after the Torah, I'm going to let Daddy do this since it's all in English. He's really good at that.
Most of the time. For those of you who don't know, we have one simple rule in the Phipps household, and it's don't be stupid. And for the most part, Vera has abided by that. I really appreciate it. But in all seriousness, you're a great daughter, you're a great sister, you're a great person, and that's really all we can hope for. And we love you very much, and we're very proud of you. Great job today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've been wonderful all year and forever.
Thank you.
I loved you ever since.
Okay.
I love you too.
Good job.
You have a passion for Minecraft, but you always like spending time.
They said you have a passion for Minecraft, but you always like spending time with me.
She also said what you were wonderful all year and forever.
Yes.
Yeah, something like
Yes,
that.
something like that.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
We needed to have the mic on her from the very beginning. All right, everybody. So you guys get to go down. And now I get to present you with a bunch of gifts. So I'm going to have you move over just a little bit so I have room because there's a lot of these gifts. So these come to you from your temple family, Vera. Give me one moment here. You should be very proud of yourself. You did a wonderful job. And we're all glad that we were here today to witness it and to be with you and celebrate with you and your family. So we have gifts for you to use to strengthen your Jewish identity and your lifelong learning. So on behalf of the temple and the board of trustees, we have a Kiddush cup for you. We wrap them and we tell you what's in it. It's not as exciting as the unwrapped surprise. You have a Kiddush cup from the temple and the board of trustees. You have from the sisterhood a set of Shabbat candlesticks so that you can observe Shabbat at home or maybe take away with you when you leave for college, but we're not ready for that yet. We have a mezuzah from the temple clergy. That's me and Rabbi Address and all of us who represent the clergy here at Temple for you to put on your door. And we have from the Temple Brotherhood, this is a travel edition of the entire Torah for you. So that huge scroll there, they managed to get into a tiny book like this. You'll be able to use it for study if you join our confirmation class going forward. And you never know when you're going to be studying. I ended up studying Bible in college. It's a thing. It's exciting. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Not just which animals are kosher and which animals aren't, I promise. So on behalf of the temple as well, we have for you a certificate on becoming bat mitzvah. And I can show you here, we have that Amnona Chana Bat Sarah Chana Vera Jillian Phipps was called to the Torah as bat mitzvah on Shabbat Pesach during Mincha on April 3rd, 2021, which is the 21st of the Hebrew month of Nisan in the year 5781, here in the presence of your friends and your family and congregation Avat Chesed in Jacksonville, Florida. We also have for you a gift from the Jewish Federation of Jacksonville. It's a certificate that enrolls you in the Federation's Joan Levin Gift of Israel program. The Federation will provide a subsidy of up to $700 to apply toward a journey to Israel, and it can be used for almost any organized Israel experience. And then as well, we have a certificate for you from the National Federation of Temple Youth, NIFTY. It's a certificate for $250, also good for a program in Israel. So all of us, your parents, your cantor, your teachers, and I know Miss Beth is there who helped you on this whole journey. It's so good to see you, Miss Beth. We are all so proud of you. We look forward to celebrating many more happy occasions with you, and we wish you a big mazel tov. So I'm not going to make you take these right now. I'll make sure that you leave the sanctuary with them when you head home. But for right now, go have a seat with Mom and Dad and Sadie while we finish up our service up here. All right, so we're going to move to our concluding prayers. I'm sorry that it's the up and the down, but we're at an up again. Sadie, if you want to come open the ark once more, I'm more than happy to have you do it as we turn over to page 282 in our prayer book, 586 on our PDF for the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, ותתנו ליוצר בראשית, שבו עשנו פדויי הארצות, ולא שמנו משלחות האדמות, שבו שם כפינו קדם, וגורלנו כחומם, ואנחנו קוראים משתחווים ומודים,
On page 287 of 591, Thank you, Sadie. You've been a fantastic assistant. You may go down. Thank you for completing the job. Can we just give her, we're not supposed to clap in the sanctuary, but we can. I'm not sure. She really deserves a round of applause as far as I'm concerned. And we can be seated once more. Thank you, everybody. We turn over to page 293. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost. The martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. If you have a name of someone today that you are thinking of, whose name you'd like to share with us, please do so at this time. So for all of those whom we name aloud and those that we hold dear in our hearts, and we know how many those are, we turn together to page 294, that's 598 in your PDF, 294. For the words of Kaddish, please rise if it is your custom. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, ba'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv imru amen. Yehe shmei rabbah mevarach la'alam ul'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shmei dikudsha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiranda alma v'imru amen. I lost my place. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mirmav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say amen. You wouldn't think that the plexiglass wall would be distracting. It's distracting. Please go ahead and have a seat. So normally we would go to our concluding song, but this is an afternoon bat mitzvah. We don't do these here, and don't be telling everybody that we do. This is a rescheduled pandemic bat mitzvah. But because we are approaching the end of Shabbat, we get now to participate in what Sarah told me is one of her most favorite things to do, right? The Havdalah ceremony. Havdalah means separation. So this is marking the separation from the holy day of Shabbat to the rest of the week. And you'll find the blessings for Havdalah on page 308 in the prayer book here. Let me see if it's in, I'm sure it's, oh, you don't have it on your PDF. You're just gonna follow along with us and listen. So on page 308, you'll find the blessings for Havdalah. It starts with a blessing over the wine. We have a blessing for spices. So the wine is for the sweetness. We say goodbye to the sweetness of Shabbat. The spices we're going to smell up here, and it's to keep in mind the sweetness, the aroma of Shabbat. We're going to light the Havdalah candle, which is made of many wicks braided together. And then we're going to say a blessing for that separation from Shabbat to the rest of the week. And it's a beautiful moment for us to mark that closing of Shabbat. So I'm going to invite Sadie and Vera and Sarah and Patrick to come on up and help us with that. Okay, so it's over here. So everyone over here. Come around the table. Don't knock into it though, because that is one full cup of wine. Okay. Ooh, it's right. So let me walk you through it just a little bit, because once I'm playing the guitar and singing, it turns out I can't do much explaining as I'm doing that. Okay. So, Sadie, you're going to be in charge of the spices. Give it a sniff. What do you think? They smell good, right? Not too bad. So what you're going to do is, when I tell you it's time for the spices, you're going to hold it up so that Mom and Dad and Vera can all smell it too. Okay? So those are going to be your job. We're going to leave the wine here because it is very full and we don't want it to, right? Unless you want to be. Totally It's gonna, I'm gonna like that. You're gonna hold the spices. Okay. You, my dear, are gonna be in charge of the candle. But here's how you're gonna do it. You're gonna hold it so that when it drips, it's gonna drip right onto this plate and not onto your hands. Okay. The first lesson is gonna be the wine. So Mom's gonna be number 1. Sadie's gonna be number 2. Vera's gonna be number 3.
I'm in charge of that.
He's in charge of it, exactly.
Sorry.
He's making sure it all goes smoothly. And I'm going to start singing. When I finish the 4 blessings, I'm going to give you a cue. Don't worry, I'll say, now's your cue. And you're going to be extinguishing your candle. So you'll hold everything over here. And when it's time to extinguish, you're going to extinguish this candle right into that wine. Okay? And do it nice and slowly so that we get a good sizzle. And this microphone will pick up the sizzle. I'll even pause and not make any sound so we can all hear the sizzle. Okay. You ready? I'm going to light this up and then I'm going to my guitar. We'll play with fire. Don't do it. Can you guys see? Can you guys see? I'm looking to see if you can see. Wait, I'll bring you closer so that you can see. Here's our blessing over the wine. You're gonna hold up those spices for everyone to smell. Here, hold that candle a little bit higher so that everyone, even on this side, can see.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol, hamavdil ben kodesh lechol. Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol, Gatotenu imachol. Zar'enu v'chaspenu yodekahu, v'chakochavim b'layla. Shavua tov, 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 Shavua tov. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. A good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. And then it's traditional for us to sing the words Eliyahu Hanavi, Elijah the prophet. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hakilati, Bimhera Yaminu, Yahu Eneinu, Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hakilati. So Vera led us so beautifully in prayer today. She read from the Torah exquisitely. We are so proud of you that you finally did it. You were able to become Bat Mitzvah here in our sanctuary. So all that's left is for us to wish Vera a hearty Mazel Tov. Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. Congratulations, Mitzvah, and Shabbat Shalom, Shavua Tov. We're right on the border there. Thank you all so much for being here.
It was good seeing everyone. Congratulations, Vera.
Oh, you've got the crew and the computer. Here, I'll bring you over. Vera, wait, say hi to your fans before they go.
Hi, Vera. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Vera.
Mazel tov, Vera.
Mazel, you crushed it.
We'll be able to download everything you wrote in the chat.
And there's Bobby and Zadie. They're there too because they're also there.
Mazel tov. Mazel tov. You did a wonderful. Mazel tov.
Love you, Mazel Tov.
Thank you.
Mazel Tov. Congratulations.
Right. Make sure that if you wrote messages into the chat, we'll download that for her and make sure that that Vera and the family get to see it. Thank you all so much for joining.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, family. Love you.
Bye. Great job.
Bye.
That was wonderful.
Oh, can I ask everyone to return your books to the table at the back? That would be a big help for us. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Bye, Saba.
All right, bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you. Bye, Saba. Bye, Grammy. Bye, Vera.
Hi, Emma.
Hi, Sue.
Hi, Emma.
Hi.
Hi, Ava.
Look, there's Sue. Say hi, Sue.
I'm well.
You good?
Hi.
Mazel tov, Sarah,
Hi.
Vera, everybody.
Bye.
Good job. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Care over Mia? You want to say goodbye? Say congratulations.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Hi, Mia.
Okay, get on my back. Okay, say bye. Say love you, everybody.
No, I want you to go later.
Mwah. Muzzle. I'm coming. Let's go
have
have a bath. Okay, everyone here. Okay. All right, how do I leave? That's it.